siya sir basig nag-ban siya na
If you're saying something,
nag-announce ng internet nila sir. Ako sa sila ignan kaya.
okay.
Walay ga percent, sir?
Kung in my
Wala.
end, Jeff, wala man Jeff, nara siya sa folder Jeff na videos.
O, sir, ga percent mo abi na ako nag-present na diri, sir.
For a while ha.
Ako i-try og otro, sir.
Kasi lain na window yung mga share. Okay na, na. Naka-off mic ka, Mark.
Mark, i-kuhan na lang i-on ang microphone.
Good day, everyone. In
Better.
relation to this oral presentation,
Wala, sir. Audio sa kan.
Ayaw daw pag-mute germs. Basin, ano ba, dili maginabat ano lay audio.
Testicles.
Good day, everyone. In relation to this oral presentation, we are here to discuss our assigned topic, which is tagged as the sexual self. We are tasked to discuss the following, namely, the development of secondary sex in human reproductive system, the erogenous zones, understanding the human sexual response, understanding the sexually transmitted diseases or STDs, and lastly, the methods of contraception, natural and artificial. At this point, I would like to give the spotlight to the first reporter.
The beginning of adolescence is marked by rapid physical changes, including the maturation of the reproductive system and the development of different sex characteristics. There are actually two types of sex characteristics, and these are the primary and the secondary sex characteristics. So, for just a little view, when we say primary sex characteristics, these are physical characteristics that are present at birth. Women, vagina, the uterus, and the ovaries. And for men, they have the penis, testes or testicles, scrotum, and prostate gland. The next is the secondary sex characteristics. These are the characteristics that develops during the onset of puberty. So puberty, it is the stage of development at which individuals become sexually mature and they have the capacity to reproduce. For women, the earliest evidence of puberty is the enlargement of breast. Next is the whitest discharge from vagina, which we experience right before the menstrual period occurs. Also, women experience widening of hips, enlargement of buttocks, and growth of pubic hair. For men, the physical changes usually starts with the enlargement of testicle. The next physical changes they undergo is vivid. Their height increases and the shape of the body changes. They also experience the appearance of facial, pubic, and other body hair, the deepening of voice, and sperm production. Development of human reproductive system. The development of the reproductive system begins soon after fertilization of the egg, with primordial gonons beginning to develop approximately 1 month after conception. Reproductive development continues in utero, but there is a little change in the reproductive system between infancy and puberty. The erogenous zones. Erogenous zone are the areas of the body that are highly sensitive to stimuli and are often sexually exciting. This may be genital or extragenital. Erogenous zones are actually sexually pleasurable to touch. A person might derive pleasure from touching these areas themselves, but many people get the most pleasure when another person touches them. These zones includes the following. The first one is the skin. The skin serves as the primary erotic stimulus, and there are two types of erogenous zones exist in this area. The first one is the non-specific. The non-specific, these are the pleasurable sensation felt from these regions is simply an exaggerated form of tickle. Example of this type are the sides and back of the neck, the axilla, and the sides of the thorax. And the second one is the specific type. These specific sites of acute sensation are the genital regions, including the prepuce, the penis, the female external genitalia or vulva, the perianal skin, the lips, and the nipples. So the prepuce. Prepuce is a retractable fold of skin covering the tip of the penis. Its non-technical name is foreskin. It is also a similar fold of skin covering the tip of the clitoris. The next one is the penis. Penis is a male erectile organ of copulation by which urine and semen are discharged from the body. The third one is the perianal skin. This refers to the area of the body surrounding the anus, and in particular, the skin. The perianal skin is very sensitive. It is also susceptible to injury and damage. The next one is the lips. Lips are soft, movable, and serve as the opening for food intake and in the articulation of sound and speech. Human lips are designed to be perceived by touch and can be an erogenous zone when used in kissing and in any other act of intimacy. And the last one is the nipples. Nipples are the raised region of tissue on the surface of the breast. A recent study found that the sensation from the nipples travels to the same part of the brain as sensations from the vagina, clitoris, and cervix. This is according to Papas 2011. Understanding the human sexual response. Sexual response cycle refers to the sequence of physical and emotional changes that occur as a person becomes sexually aroused and participates in sexually stimulating activities, including intercourse and masturbation. There are four phases of this cycle. These are the excitement, the plateau, the orgasm, and the resolution. Both men and women experience these phases, although the timing usually is different. So for the first phase is the excitement. Excitement or sexual arousal when a person is becoming sexually excited. Sexual arousal usually begins in the brain. The brain sends messages throughout the body to prepare us for sex. This arousal can be stimulated by the thought, fantasy, conversation, smell, touch, taste, sound, sight, etc. There is huge diversity in what a person finds sexually exciting, and this may vary from person to person as it is influenced by culture, age, stages, relationships, cycles, etc. Sexual arousal may occur suddenly and intensely, or it may be a slower progression. So here are the general characteristics of excitement. So the phase 2, plateau. Contrary to the word, the plateau phase of sexual response is not a leveling off of sexual excitement. It is actually continues to grow, and this phase may last several seconds to minutes. A person may feel physical and emotional excitement and have physically sensations of sensitivity, warmth, and even appear flushed. This phase can take a person to a level of altered consciousness. It is often referred to as the heat of the moment or the throes of passion. And here are the list of general characteristics of plateau. For the third phase, the orgasm. Orgasm is an intense, pleasurable feeling that occurs at the end of the plateau phase. Orgasm is usually the most intense peak of the sexual response cycle. It is also the shortest of all phases in the cycle. It occurs when the sexual and muscular tension built up is released in a series of quick pleasurable contractions. It is the peak of sexual arousal and it is called the climax. The experience of orgasm differs from person to person and experience to experience. It can feel quick and intense or slow and relaxed. So here is the list of general characteristics of orgasm. And we have the last phase, which is the resolution. The end stage of sexual arousal is called resolution. During the resolution period, a relaxation of the muscles as well as psychologically will occur. The blood that has moved into the genitals will drain out slowly. The body returns to the way it is. The body returns to the way it was before sexual arousal. Resolution happens whether or not someone experiences an orgasm.
Let's continue. My topic is all about the basic biology of sexual behavior. We know that we produce chemical signals in our body that allow one part of our body to communicate with other parts of our bodies, and these signals are called hormones. Male sex hormones. So, androgens are part that's secreted by the testes. And these hormones increases at our puberty stage. And we need them to develop into a sexually mature adult to reproduce. So, next is the testosterone. These hormones are responsible for those of the secondary sex characteristic such as body hair and deepening of voice. So, makuha na natin siya ma-encounter if we're now at puberty stage nga. Manapit tayo ma-change sa itong physical appearance like tubuan ng tag hair sa atong nahong ilok or o atong breast kay mo kuan siya mo growth, and it also help to increase sex drive, and production level is constant, so men are interested in sex without regard to biological cycles, so sexual behavior can occur at any time. So female sex hormones. So first it can be found is the estrogen. So estrogen are a group of hormones that play an important role in the normal sexual and reproductive development in women. And it also called as sex hormones. Next is the progesterone. It's secreted by the ovaries, and it plays an important role in the menstrual cycle and in maintaining of the early stages of pregnancy. O, ang level of progesterone daw ay mo-increase siya during ang isa ka bae kay magburos. Then hormone production follows a cyclical pattern. Then the greatest output is during the ovulations when the egg is released from the ovaries. Because hormone level varies during the cycle. And then because of that, the interest in sex can also but not always vary. Next is the understanding the chemistry of love, lust, and attachment. So, falling in love can be beautiful wild experience. It is a rush of longing, passion, of euphoria. For couples who remain together through the years, the rush will have been replaced by a warm, comfortable, and nurturing feelings. And according to Helen Fisher, an anthropologist from the Rutgers University, who proposed the three stages of falling in love, and she believed that each stage has a different set of chemicals around the show. So these are the three stages of falling in love. First is the lust or the erotic passion. Second one is the attraction or romantic passion. And lastly is the attachment or the commitment. So lust. This stage is marked by the physical attraction. You want to seduce and be seduced by your object of affection. So, kanya siyang lust, mara siya, nadala na ito ka na, sa inyong mga gipang buhat, like, mara kag nadala. And it driven by the testosterone in men and estrogen in women. However, it will not guarantee that the couple will fall in love with any lasting way. Next one is the attraction. So at this stage, you begin to crave your partner's presence. Mana obsession. Mana siyang time magkaka-obsess ka sa imong partner. Gusto rin mo siya nga nara sa premise mong tapad. And you feel excitement and energetic as you fantasize about the things that you could do together as a couple. And there are three chemical trigger this feeling. So first is the norepinephrine, This chemical is responsible for the extra surge of energy, and it triggers increase the heart rate, and it lowers appetite as well as the desire to sleep, and your body is more alert state and is ready for action. Wow. Next is dopamine. Dopamine is associated with the motivation and goal-oriented behavior. It also helps to pursue your object of affection, and it creates a sense of novelty. Uh, Means that where the person seems to exciting, special, or unique that you want to tell the world about his or her admirable qualities. So lastly is the serotonin. Serotonin is the extraction kuan kahit ang para less ang imong stress or loneliness sa imong life. Pero when it comes na low level of serotonin are present in people with the obsessive compulsive behavior or OCD, mao ni silang mga tao bitaw mga gamay ang serotonin tapos dili sila happy sa ilang self, like dagan to sila ginahuna-huna na bisag unsa na maka kuan sa ilang mga unwanted thoughts of fears lang kagalingon. Mahadlok na rin sila engage og any activities kay kabalo sila kung unsay kuan silang kagalingon bitaw nga dili sila comfortable. And there's a trivia. Those who express they were in love and people with OCD both had less serotonin transporter in their blood compared to those who did not express they were in love and do not have OCD as well. So it means na kung naa kay OCD and ma-in love ka with someone the same ang situation sa imo, so less ang inyong serotonin transporter sa in blood compare sa sa imo nga wala kay OCD and ma-in love ka through someone nga wala kay OCD, so dagan inyong serotonin, so happy ang inyong relationship toward each other. So last stages is called attachment. It involves the desire to have the lasting commitment with your significant others or partners. At this point, you may want to get married or have a children. Kini nga stage kay sure na jud mo sa inyong feelings bitaw ang kuan na jud kung forever or sana all. Like comfortable na jud mo sa inyong bitong kuan sa inyong thoughts, sa inyong feelings toward each other na ready na mo. Mara to. Then the last topic is all about psychological aspects of sexual desire. So sexual desire. Sexual desire is typically viewed as an interest in the sexual object or activities. And more precisely, it is the subjective feeling of wanting to engage in sex. But sometimes, sexual desire are accompanied by the genital arousal, such as penile erection in men and vaginal lubrication in women. Then, sexual desire can be triggered by a large variety of causes and situations, both internal and external. It includes private thoughts, feelings, fantasies, erotic materials such as books, movies, and photographs, and a variety environment, situations, or social interactions. And as you can see in the picture, sex drives represents a basic biology mediated motivation to seek sexual activity or sexual gratification. So in contrast, sexual desire represents a more complex psychological experience that is not dependent on hormonal factors. That's
So for the continuation, I'm German Martin Alpacana, and I will be discussing about the diversity of sexual behavior and the sexual transmitted diseases or STDs, and lastly, the methods of contraception, natural and artificial. So first, the diversity of sexual behavior. So what is sexual behavior? Sexual behavior refers to the genital activities in which an individual engages. Moreover, it is the manner in which humans experience and express their sexuality. Di ba people man jud is tend to engage in variety of sexual acts ranging from activities done alone, example ani is kanang masturbation, to acts with another person, example ani is kanang sexual intercourse, oral sex, and many more to mention. On the other hand, is the sexual orientation, which is tagged to be as an individual's general sexual disposition towards partners of same sex, opposite sex, or both sexes. Whereas gender identity refers to one's sense of being male or female. Or in simple words, the difference between sexual orientation and gender identity is that sexual orientation pertains to attraction. It answers the question of who you are attracted to. Like, kakinsa man kaga ka-attract, kakinsa man kaga ka in love. Whereas ang gender identity is self-identification. Example, if your sex assigned at birth is male and you see yourself as a male, then that's your gender identity. Another thing, if your sex assigned at birth is female and you see yourself as a male, then that's your gender identity. So, here are some examples of sexual orientation. As what I've said earlier, sexual orientation pertains to attraction. It answers the question of who you are attracted to. So, what is heterosexual? If you are heterosexual, meaning you are sexually or romantically attracted to people of the opposite sex. Example ani is, if lucky ka, tas attracted ka sa babae, and vice versa, ginatawag ka as heterosexual, or in layman's term, you are a straight. On the other hand, if you are homosexual, you are sexually attracted to people of one's own sex or gender. Example is, if babae ka, tas attracted ka sa imong kapwa babae, and if lalaki ka, tas attracted ka sa imong kapwa lalaki, then meaning you are a homosexual, or famously known as gay or lesbian. Next is the bisexual. If you are bisexual, you are sexually attracted not exclusively to people of one particular gender. Meaning, if lalaki ka, tas attracted ka sa babae, tas gaka-attracted ka sa lalaki, meaning you are bisexual. The other hand is the transsexual. It is a person who physical transition from male to female. It is famously transgender based sa mga peaks nga given. The next in line to be discussed is the sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. So unsa din si STD or si sexually transmitted disease? Accordingly, it is a disease or infection acquired through sexual contact where the organism that causes STDs are passed from one person to person in blood, semen, and vaginal, or any other bodily fluids. So makuha daw ni nga disease na ay mahitabo nga sexual intercourse, and it increases the risk of acquiring HIV or the human immunodeficiency virus and the AIDS or the acquired immunodeficiency virus. Syndrome. Or AIDS is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. For more info, practicing safe sex will help reduce the risk of acquiring this disease. So here are some of the most common STDs that may affect women. First is the chlamydia, which is tagged to be a parasitic bacterium that can cause pregnancy problems for women when left untreated. Next is gonorrhea. It is caused by a bacterium passed from one person to another through unprotected oral, anal, or vaginal sex. Nagagamit og kanang barrier methods bitaw like mga condoms, mana siya maong naay kanang gonorrhea, manang mga common nga usa sa common nga STD ga ka-affect sa women. Moving on to the genital herpes, which is caused by a virus that infects the skin, the mouth, and the mucous membranes of the genitals and the rectum. Next is the genital warts, which is caused by a virus characterized by rough, wart-like growths. On the other hand, is the syphilis. It is a dangerous and life-threatening bacterial disease as it could affect other vital organs such as hearts, spine, and brain. Lastly is the ectoparasitic infection, which is caused by parasites such as lice or mites transmitted through sexual contact. Here are some non-sexual transmission, meaning walay sexual contact or sexual intercourse nga involved. It includes mother to infant during pregnancy, pwede na siya makatakod. Mga gining mga common nga case pod kanang sa non-sexual transmission, like kanang ginapalabas sa MMK, mana siya. Next is blood transmission. Next is the people sharing needles for infection. So, mo naman, non-sexual transmission. Walay involved nga sexual intercourse or sexual contact. Next to be discussed is the methods of contraception, natural and artificial. As we all know, diba, family planning is achieved through the means of contraceptive methods, which is actually the treatment of infertility. Or in simple words, contraception protects women from pregnancy and unplanned pregnancy. So what is this law that can be associated with the methods of contraception? According to the Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or also known as the Reproductive Health Law or RH Law, and officially designated as Republic Act No. 10354, it is a Philippine law that provided universal access to methods of contraception, fertility control, sexual education, and maternal care in the Philippines. So, unsa man din si contraception di ay? As for the definition of contraception, accordingly, it is designed to prevent pregnancy as a consequence of sexual intercourse. Furthermore, here are some methods of contraception, namely the long-acting reversible contraception, such as the implant or the intrauterine device, or famously known as the IUD. Next is the hormonal contraception. Common example ani is kanang mga birth control pill and birth control injection. Next is the barrier methods. From the word itself, barrier, common gyud ani is mga condoms. Next is the emergency contraception, fertility awareness, and lastly, the permanent contraception. Kining permanent contraception, ga-involve din siya og kanang mga surgery, such as vasectomy and tubal ligation. Kining tubal ligation, morning, inatawag ito natin as kanang magpaligit bitaw ang bayi. Mostly is kanang mga 40 years old and above na kanang di na bitaw gusto magpaanak, like kontento na sila sa ilang family nga nahimo mong magpaligid. On the other hand, contraception provides many benefits. The following are some of the benefits. To start off, it prevents pregnancy-related health risks in women. It reduces infant mortality. It helps prevent HIV and AIDS. It empowers people and enhances education. And it reduces adolescent pregnancies. And gapasdaw po siya sa atong
population growth. So, when using contraceptives comes a great accountability, Jude. As a user, you should take accountability for using such contraceptives, knowing it has advantages, which is technically good, but on the other hand, it also has disadvantages. As for the advantages, it is effective against pregnancy, it makes menstrual more regular and lighter, it decreases menstrual cramps, and lastly, it doesn't interrupt sexual activity. In contrary, some of its disadvantages are the following. It doesn't protect against STDs or the sexually transmitted diseases. It needs prescription. And it can't be used by women with certain medical problems, which is very unfortunate. And it increases risk of blood clot. So, there are natural and artificial family planning methods. But first, let us further understand the natural family planning method. So, unsa man is the natural family planning method di ay? Natural family planning or NFP is a method that uses the body's natural physiological changes and symptoms to identify the fertile and infertile phases of the menstrual cycle. Such methods are also known as fertility-based awareness methods. These natural family planning methods are generally the preferred contraceptive method for women who do not wish to use artificial methods of contraception for the reasons of kanang mga chismis, mga miss, mga sabi-sabi sa mga silingan, yan na. However, natural family planning methods are unreliable in preventing unwanted pregnancy. Nga naman, because it also takes time to practice and use the natural family planning properly, and this adds to its unreliability. Moreover, natural family planning methods do not protect a person against sexually transmitted diseases or the STDs, including the HIV or the human immunodeficiency virus. So there are types of natural family planning methods, namely the periodic abstinence method of fertility awareness, use of breastfeeding, or the lactational amenorrhea method or LAM, and lastly the coitus interruptus method or the withdrawal or pulling out. To further know its types, first is the periodic abstinence method, which is tagged to be that involves from stopping sexual intercourse, and it is the most effective natural birth control. Yes, kay kung mag-stop kung wala yung sexual intercourse or sexual contact na mahitabo, wala yung mabuo, di ba? So, there are three common techniques used in periodic abstinence methods, namely the rhythm method or the calendar method. Next is the basal body temperature monitoring, which relies on monitoring a woman's basal body temperature on a daily basis using the BBT chart. Kaning basal body temperature monitoring accurate ni siya sa pagpredict sa ovulation sa babayi. Kay if she notices a sudden decrease in her temperature and increase na pod later on napito inconsistency sa iyang basal body temperature, meaning ana she is ovulating. Since fertile man ang bay ana nga time, she should avoid from having sexual intercourse in the next 3 days. Next is the cervical mucus method or ovulation. It's based on carefully observing the women's mucus patterns during ovulation. Like if ang mucus sa babae is watery and thin, then she should avoid sexual intercourse to prevent pregnancy, knowing that she is fertile. Next is the lactation amenorrhea method, known as withdrawal or the pulling out method. It is a method of birth control in which a man during sexual intercourse pulls out his penis from a woman's vagina. It is the temporary fertility that occurs in women when she is menstruating after giving birth and that she is fully breastfeeding. As for the artificial family planning method, or also known as the hormonal contraception, hormonal contraceptives manipulate the hormones that directly affect the normal menstrual cycle so that ovulation will not occur. So here are some artificial birth control options. First is the oral contraceptives, which is commonly known as the pill. Oral contraceptives contain synthetic estrogen and progesterone, wherein estrogen suppresses ovulation, whereas progesterone decreases permeability of the cervical mucus to limit the sperm's access to the ova. Next is the transdermal contraceptive patch, which is tagged to be as a medicated adhesive patch that is placed on the skin to deliver a specific dose of medication through the skin and into the bloodstream. Like the oral contraceptives, it also contains both estrogen and progesterone, but unlike the pill that needed to be taken every day, this method only involves applying the patch in the upper or outer arm, upper torso, abdomen once a week for 3 weeks application. Kung ang pill is gina-take every day, kaning transdermal contraceptive is kung ano siya, once every 3 weeks ra ang iyang application. So unlike the pill, dili kayo ni siya hassle, more easier than the pill. Kaning transdermal contraceptive patch. Next is the vaginal ring, which is tagged to be a birth control option ring inserted into the vagina and slowly releases hormone through the vaginal wall into the bloodstream to prevent pregnancy. It is small, soft, and plastic. It also releases a dose of estrogen and progesterone into the bloodstream. On the other hand is the subdermal implants that is made up of a rod the size of a matchstick, and it contains hormone progestin that prevents pregnancy by inhibiting ovulation and reducing the amount, making it unfriendly to sperm that are trying to enter the uterus. It is said that its protection is up to 3 years. Kaning ko ang subdermal implants na siya, protection daw for up to 3 years. Next one is the hormonal injections, which is a contraceptive injection given once every 3 months. Kung siya, it suppresses ovulation which refuses to lead to pregnancy. Unlike the other contraceptives, kanisha is injectable lang once every 12 weeks with 100% effectivity in preventing getting pregnant. On the other hand is the intrauterine device, or famously known as the IUD. It is small, T-shaped plastic device wrapped in copper and contains hormones. A doctor inserts the IUD. It prevents fertilization of the egg by damaging and killing the sperm with an effectivity for 5 to 7 years, which is very convenient. I feel like diri sa kuan lang sa among barangay is kanang ang common jud in terms of birth control option is kanig, aside sa pill, is kanig yung kuan kanang magpatag og kanang intrauterine device or the IUD. Bisa akong mama kay kuan man akong mama gyud diri sa barangay is kanang barangay health worker bitaw siya. Kay kanidong IUD diri is kanang mas accessible siya, tas free ra pod maong daghan gyud ka kuan aning IUD. and also sa pill. Kay saan naman gud siya kay take ra siya everyday, but ang downside gud sa pill is kung masayop, di lang ka makainom og ana nga tablet or nakay nangalakbayan nga days nga pag inom na kay chance gyud nga maburos. Moving on to the next birth control option, which is the chemical barriers. Chemical barriers like vaginal gels and creams are also used to cause the death of sperms before they can enter the cervix. However, these chemical barriers cannot prevent sexually transmitted infections, which is very unfortunate lang jud. Bound to the other birth control options is the diaphragm, which is said to be a dome-shaped barrier methods of contraception that blocks the sperms from entering the uterus. Kaning sa diaphragm port, ginablock niya ang sperm right before entering the uterus. It is made of latex or rubber and formed like a shallow cup, filled with spermicide and fitted over the uterine cervix. On the other hand is the cervical cup. That is another barrier method that is made of soft rubber and fitted on the rim of the cervix, and it shapes like a thimble with a thin rim. As you can see, mura ni siya og silicone cup nga i-insert sa vagina to cover the cervix and para sa dili makasulod ang sperm sa lalaki kung naay sexual contact or sexual intercourse nga mahitabo. Moving on to the next is the male condom. Accordingly, it is tagged to be as a latex or synthetic rubber sheath placed on the erect penis before vaginal penetration to trap the sperm during ejaculation. Ay assume nga familiar naman ta aning tanan ani kay mao man jud kung mga artificial birth control option jud. Using this can prevent yourself from having sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. So, unlike sa katong chemical barriers nga dili maka-prevent og transmitted infection diseases, kaning condoms maka-prevent siya. So kung naay male condoms, napoy female condoms, which is also called as internal condoms. It is tagged as a thin pouch inserted into the vagina before sex, serving as protective barrier to prevent pregnancy and protection from sexually transmitted diseases. Same goes yapon sa male condoms nga protect yapon siya from having sexual transmitted diseases or STDs. Kung napansin ninyo na siya inner ring that covers the cervix and outer cervix, and naapoy open ring that is placed against the vaginal opening, and ang fail rate ani is 12% up to 20%. Moving on to the next is the surgical methods. So from the name itself, ka-involve yun siya og surgery, which is tagged to be as one of the most effective birth control methods. It ensures contraception is inhibited permanently after the surgery. So naa siya two kinds that are the vasectomy and tubal ligation nga akong na-mention earlier. Wherein vasectomy is a surgical procedure performed by a doctor on a male person wherein the tube that carries the sperm to a man's penis is cut para dili makaproduce na og sperm while nag-sexual intercourse. What's good about the surgical method is it is permanent contraception method. Though permanent siya, but mahal lang po siya kag involved siya surgery. Whereas ang tubal ligation is a surgical procedure for female sterilization involving severing and tying the fallopian tubes. Kung ang vasectomy is for male, kanyang tubal ligation is for female. I think ang common term ani is katong as what I've said earlier kanang like it good. Diri sa among barangay is ang common gyud nga palagit is kanang kuan na kanang di na gusto maburos good. Kanang 40 years old and above muna siya. So, that ends our report about the sexual self. I hope you guys have learned something essential in relation to these discussions. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you very much for your recorded presentation. It was very, very informative. I was listening for the entire duration when you played your recorded presentation. I appreciate it because the topic sexual self, you know what, class, during the face-to-face time, it is one of the most interesting topic in understanding the self because we will be tackling here. I know some of you already are parents, some of you are in a relationship, and some of you are planning to marry after you graduate, di ba? It's really incorporated now in the quality education system of the Philippines to incorporate to study the parts of the human anatomy, how it functions, and what are the preventive measures. That is for our own protection and for our own awareness and how we would be able to respond when situation arises. Okay, this will serve as an eye opener. I know in understand you know what class during the time that understanding the self started, it was still face to face and the activities we tackle this topic for you really accumulate the entire session because there are a lot of questions raising from their end, and I'm very happy that finally it was really made into a subject. Then in the textbook class, if you have a textbook, there it is really specified. For example, the forms of contraception, so that we would be able to know if we are and preventing us from acquiring the diseases, di ba? And I will be sharing to you my personal PowerPoint for this topic so that it would be more comprehensive. But I also appreciate very much the presenters for this afternoon. Their presentation was very complete. I was checking also in the course outline while I was listening to the recorded presentation. So we appreciate your presentation. Thank you for uploading already, Martin, in yung recorded. I saw it in the oral presentation just while I was listening. I was checking already if you have uploaded your recorded presentation, okay, and your PowerPoint also. I will share that to the class so that they could use it as a good reference for the coming of our exams. Okay, I will not give you long exams or long quizzes because, but please do make of the project that I uploaded. Okay, please do because it is my way of helping you because the exam is departmental. I'm always telling my sections that the exam is departmental and it's not easy. Dili ra ako nagbuhat sa exam. We are all the UTS teachers of the university are taking the exam. So the project would somehow help you. I would somehow help you to not have a low grade in my subject. Okay, that is why I am not making mga quizzes na para dili mo mag-isulog ang pass. Just the summative tests that are found in the book, it is already supplemental for your class standing. Okay, and just if you want to review, I uploaded also the supplementary learning videos so that you would enhance your knowledge about the sexual self. Okay, do you have any questions or clarifications? Somebody, question, Joby? Yes. Continue your questions. Sir, sa imong point of view. In my point of view, why don't males have more contraceptives? We actually, Joby, there are also pills for men. There are also pills for men, but it's not really readily available in the market, because I know that, because once because like what I've said, di ba, I'm married. We are, before you will get into marriage, there is what we call the marriage counseling. And during the marriage counseling, this topic was also brought to us. We had a seminar one day, and um, yes, that is also true. There is a certain stigma. It was mentioned also in the orient what do you call that, the seminar that I attended during the pre-marriage counseling seminar. There is a certain stigma already in the Philippines, but I think we are trying to correct that divide. Once you will become a student in gender and society, that's the subject in the third and the fourth year. It's also a general education subject. I am teaching that subject, and I am telling my students that there are certain uh, there are certain practices in our culture that create stigma to the society. So as a practitioner and as a academician working in big universities, we are trying to address those concerns by trying to implement programs and awareness para ma-eliminate ang katong stigma kay usahay kay luoy biya kaayo ang female, di ba? We in the gender and society topic, society na subject na which you are going to tackle in the third year. I always emphasize the women empowerment because it is long overdue already that we are not catering the gender equality. Dili lang sa men and women, but in all forms of gender. Okay? That is very, very true. There are a lot of bad effects, especially the hormones when we take contraceptives. Usay gani, Joey, kay mas better gid ang abstinence kay if you're planning to basig karon dili example, for example, you are a married, you will create your family, then you've decided dili sa mag-anak, so you're taking contraceptive. This is just a hypothetical. Um, you're taking contraceptives para dili sa inyong plano, in the next 5 years you will just say it would be very hard because there are already a lot of effects. Once you want to to have a baby, na ay mga tendencies that it will cause a delay because of the effect. Di ba? Any medicines would really have a side effects, and one of the effects is katulad lagi na ay mga effects regarding sa the reproduction of a new baby. So just be careful on the intake and the frequency. The best way to have the proper dosage is really to consult, for females, to consult the OB/GYN regarding the contraceptions that you will be taking. Ayaw lang, okay naman, matuta sa mga center, barangay health worker, but it would be better that the doctor would really tell us the frequency and the dosage because of the effects of it in our hormones. Okay, that's very good. That's very good insights that you are sharing to us. At least I am able to answer. And later on, as you will go journey in your college life, there is also a subject that I am that is very related to UTS, the gender and society. And I think you will be taking that subject in few semesters from now. So there are instances that I'll be teaching the same subject, but for now, or you will have a different teacher. So don't worry. We are following on the same outline. So there it will be explained a lot of discrepancies and a lot of inequalities that we should be addressing, especially we are already living in the 21st century. Okay. And for next week, before we will for next week class, please start reviewing because April is fast approaching already for the midterm. I still have no timeline what is will be the coverage of the exam, but rest assured that just look into the first outline. I think the first half will cover for the midterm, the first half of the topics. I will just message you once. I'm always doing a follow up in our department head, in our GC also for the faculty of this subject, so that we would be able to know what topic will be included in the midterm exam. So please just be available during the examination, huh? Okay, because it will be simultaneous. Okay, like what I think you have experienced that already. Okay, I think we are good for today. If you have questions, additional question clarification, just PM me, okay? Just PM me and I will be answering that after my classes. I still have two classes after you, okay? Thank you very much for attending our synchronous session this afternoon. I appreciate your attendance. We are 34 right now. Thank you for the presenters also. And next week, we will continue with the discussion. Still two presenters, okay? Thank you and God bless everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you po.
God bless,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. God bless po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.